Hello everybody and welcome to 2.6.0 patch notes for Dead by Daylight. We've already covered what the patch notes were back in the PTB video, and if you wish to catch up on those changes, please check the description down below. In this video, we're going to talk about what got changed from the PTB patch notes for the actual release of the game. To begin, we'll be starting with the Plague and her adjustments, as there were changes to her overall kit, both good and bad. To start, they reduced her movement speed while moving with a fully charged power, they increased her movement speed while charging the power itself, and Survivor's sickness no longer resets once they're hooked. Corruption Purge duration was increased to 60 seconds up from 45 seconds. Vile Purge can now affect the exit gates. When all pools of devotion are corrupted, the Plague now automatically upgrades to Corruption Purge as all pools of devotion are reset. Duration of objects being affected by sickness was also increased to 35 seconds, up from 20. Plague's Vile Purge sickness now counts as a hit for brutality points and various perks when a survivor enters the broken status. This also includes for the Chaser emblem. The Plague's add-on changes were various, and they essentially just overall got a buff. And finally, her scoring was altered as she was not receiving enough blood points during the PTB. Hitting survivors that are not sick with Vile Purge will grant an additional 25 blood points. Hitting a survivor with Corrupt Purge was increased by 50 blood points. And downing a survivor with max sickness now grants 200 bonus blood points. Moving on to the perk changes, they increased fire up to be a 4% bonus per generator completed, maxing out at a 20% increased action speed, overall buffing the perk from what it was supposed to be. The Antiphobia had its value decreased from 6% down to 4% per injured survivor. This makes the maximum effect of all 4 survivors being 1% higher than before, but they nerfed the perk as it gives less of an effect per survivor, so your starting 2 survivors won't make as much of an impact. Emblem changes were implemented with a few minor changes to the killer side. Devout now only requires 9 hooks instead of 10 to get an iridescent when making 4 kills. Gatekeeper at the time was not providing enough scoring, so they reduced the overall requirement to score high. However, due to increasing that, they dropped the amount of bonus points you get when all generators are not completed. And that pretty much wraps up the majority of the changes from the patch notes in the PTB. Everything else made it into the game, including audio adjustment, perk changes such as Decisive Strike, and the map changes. So how good is the patch? Well, to be honest, it's not looking too good. The Plague herself is a fantastic killer and fun to play. Her power isn't exactly game-changing, but it is a fun power to play with. Jane has created several memes, being the new thick survivor of Dead by Daylight. However, the emblem changes are not popular amongst the community, as the requirements to pip are now dependent more on luck rather than skill. Dead by Daylight has always been a game to encourage several methods of play. For example, survivors could distract the killer all game and would be rewarded, allowing them to progress up the ranks, while the allies took care of generators, allowing them to progress up through the objective. Then, if you were the savior of the team, you could gain points down that category, and if you failed to escape, you were not overall punished. All forms of play were welcome. Now, the game requires that you do everything in order to pip at the higher ranks. This is where luck comes in. Survivors have a limited source that they must compete for in order to obtain them. If you're the first in chase and you lead a good chase, but your allies worked on all the generators, they limit what points you can get for your objective. If you end up being the one to work for generators mostly, you risk that other survivors are making the save for their benevolence or getting chased, leaving you dry in points. Overall, you're expected to play the hypercarry of your team. You need to do literally everything. You need to be the person who works on several generators, saves several allies, be chased for quite some time without being hit, and do your best not to even be knocked down. All of these are not always possible, especially if allies do their part of teamwork, and if the killer isn't good enough to put pressure on the team, all survivors then suffer. The same goes for the killer. If the killer performs too well, they have to focus on letting survivors have more chances. Both sides are looking to artificially extend the game just to fulfill points in order to reach rank 1. Although if you don't care about your rank, this really shouldn't affect you. But the other change might. What may not have been mentioned in the patch itself is the new matchmaking, as it has been implemented over time. Now, killers have to wait in a queue to even host a game. If the killer has to reset the lobby due to, let's say, a 4th survivor not being able to connect, then the killer has to wait that 5-minute queue again. Personally, I'm not a fan of the new emblem requirements, as they do not encourage survivors to work together but instead compete for their victory. It already kinda did that, but now it's even worse. When playing as survivor, I always have to return to the map to run the killer around until I feel I have enough points to win. Every time a survivor is hooked, I have to stop what I'm doing, rush to them, and save them immediately, stopping everyone else from making that save before I do. Then I also have to run perks to make sure I heal faster than others, to make sure I get those points. For a killer, you have a whole new type of worry. You're not really worried about getting kills because they don't reward you unless you kill everybody and get all the hook requirements. So now you're just focused on keeping all 5 generators up for as long as you can, because the beginning of the game is the most important for generators. Then you have to hit survivors as much as you possibly can. Keep hitting them. Don't stop. It's almost not worth it to hook them, but sometimes you have to get your malicious, but you have got to dish the damage out, and that's not always possible based on double pallets reappearing. Whether they're a bug or not, I've seen pallets spawn side by side, and all the chasing just doesn't pay off sometimes. It just feels like you're supposed to hit, walk away, and just patrol generators. It's really a chore to keep track of the pipping system, and I feel like I'm playing without purpose now. When playing this game, I usually look at the pip system, and that's the win-loss condition. You get those points, you did good enough or bad enough, and that's how you go up in rank, and that's how you determine your win. And some people have just these own personal goals and they don't rely on the pipping system, but the pipping system is the defined win condition of Dead by Daylight, as it is the only way to increase your rank. And to have a high rank, you have to win the game. So no arbitrary opinion on that, that's what it is. And unfortunately, if you care about rank, if you want to show that you do good or want to see yourself improve, you're not going to see that based on the work you put in. You're only going to see it based on the time you put in. Your skill will guarantee that you can prevent yourself from going down in rank, but it's going to be luck that determines whether or not you actually get the win. I just want to say that I do love the killer though. Plague is very fun to play. I think the chapter just gets boggled down by the implementations that don't fit what Dead by Daylight has been. Dead by Daylight has been a game that encourages you to make choices, and those choices are based on what's going on, and especially for Survivor, if a survivor gets hooked at the end, you have that choice. You can leave. You still win if you did good, and you could leave, or you could risk your life, your points, to boost your own points and save an ally. The choice was yours, but now the choice is no longer there. You must save your ally every time. You must gain all the points you can. You must have done the generators. You must let your allies go down. You must not protect them because you need them to go down. You need to farm them for what they're worth. And the worst part is, it's a competition and there's only a limited source of income for all of you. That wraps up the patch notes. I'll have some Plague gameplay up for you guys if you want. Let me know. Sekiro also comes out tomorrow, and I am excited to play. If you guys want to see some Sekiro gameplay for YouTube, let me know, and I'll upload some of the fun I have on Twitch, or if you guys want some exclusive just YouTube content, again, let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to be streaming Sekiro live on Twitch at 3 p.m. Pacific time, March 22nd. If you want to, link in the description to my Twitch, hit the follow there, watch me live, it'll be a good amount of fun. We got a very interesting week coming up with a few neat events for my stream as well. If you want to drop by, say hi, you're always welcome to find me on twitch.tv/tidetime. Thank you all for watching, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and as always, good game.